Pleasure the go. This is real, brother. This is wrestling.
And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wrestle Purist Raw Review. I'm your host, Ibu of Wrestle Purist, of Self-Made, of Wrestling Twitter. I'm joined as usual by my co-host, Rob, formerly of the Island of Relevancy, now of Self-Made, and a man who now has a new Twitter account because Twitter smoked his old one, and the new @ is right there under his graphic, his screen graphic. So follow Rob. But we're here as usual to review Monday Night Raw. Last night's show was a pretty good show. Had some good action. We had some Money in the Bank qualifiers. Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria, and a rematch is set for the Intercontinental Championship at Money in the Bank. And this one has a new interesting stipulation. If Becky Lynch loses, she can never challenge Lyra for the Intercontinental Championship ever again. Sheamus arrives, and he is going toe-to-toe with Miro. Dragon Lee had a respect me performance. He had a don't put me on catering performance. Penta qualifies for Money in the Bank. Chad Gable is beefing with everybody. AJ Styles, El Hijo del Vikingo. WWE spoils the results of the next AAA Mega Championship match, and more, so much more. Roxanne Perez and Liv Morgan currently at odds, currently beefing. So a good episode. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about all the news surrounding the show. We'll talk about some news regarding tonight's NXT. I got some Mike Santana stuff for you guys in case you missed anything I had been saying in the last couple of reviews. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Santana makes his WWE debut tonight, and we'll kind of just go from there, folks. It should be a fun, chill podcast. But I say that, but this is one of the most unpredictable shows that we do. So you never know what'll happen. You never know who will pop by.
You never know.
You never know what direction this show will take. But in the meantime, folks, please make sure to like the video if you haven't liked the video. Subscribe to Wrestle Purist if you haven't subscribed. And go ahead and send us your super chats, man. This is going to be another one of those shows, as usual. Anytime I'm driving the ship folks, this is your show. It's your podcast. So as such, send us your questions. Give us your takes. Give us your opinions on what's happening in wrestling right now, what's going on lately, anything from Monday Night Raw last night, and so on and so forth. So we'll take it from there. We'll go from there. And with that said, Rob, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right today, man. Last night was Monday Night Raw. A pretty good episode of Monday Night Raw to follow up from what we got from last week and what we got over the weekend at Saturday night's main event. I liked the other matches that we got last night on Monday Night Raw. I also like some of the stories, the story directions that we're taking with some of the shit that we're doing on Monday Night Raw. So I'm very excited to break down this episode of Monday Night. Not really like and then this segment, but no, we'll definitely have a better time than we did last week. So yeah. Hello. Well, anyways, well,
Yo, when did I get muted? What the hell?
Oh, you've been muted. You've been muted for like the whole time I was talking.
Bro, I was responding to you, and I'm like,
I was finished.
no, I was responding to you, and I didn't realize I was muted. Sorry, what I was saying was, I said, yeah, both three-ways are really good. The opening one was fantastic, and honestly, with a couple more minutes, you would have been looking at like a spectacular wrestling match. Dragon Lee, Penta, and Chad Gable were going insane, and Dragon Lee in particular. I think he reminded people, and I've been insisting this for all the people that tried to act like Dragon Lee fell off or that he was washed or something. It's like, dude, he just doesn't get used a lot, but Dragon Lee's still phenomenal. And when you let him do him, you see what you get. Last night, he was incredible. And I've been saying this for forever. He's WWE's best luchador. I think he's WWE's best masked wrestler. Now, he's not the shiny new toy. He's not the AEW defection. So they're not going to, from a political standpoint, they're not going to use him the way that they use Penta or even Phoenix. But goddamn, he's still the best. And I wish Dragon Lee was just used more. 29 years old, still in his prime, still phenomenal. Did his old incredible tope, which is still one of the best topes in the entire business, on fire yesterday. And I thought that three-way was fucking terrific. And again, like I said, I wish it went even longer. I had a great time with that match. So we'll talk about that one. We'll talk about Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn. We'll talk about the other developments on the show. And like I said, we'll talk about the news surrounding the show and going into tonight's NXT. So strap in, everybody. Guys, again, please like the video. I'm looking at my screen and maybe it's wrong, but it says that we have 3 likes. There's like over 200 of you guys. So let's like that up. Let's get going with that. And while we're doing that, while we're working on these likes, I want to hear from you guys. So Rob, let's get right to the super chats.
Let's start off with some of these super chats we got today. Alex H, 2 pounds. Was Seth's "you people" bit a jab at John, or?
I don't know. I wouldn't know. Maybe I could ask. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What I do know is that going into last night's show, the goal was we're going to introduce the players and formally introduce this group. A group that I was already on record, Rob. I said weeks ago, I said they're going to add somebody. I was like, guys are going to add a third person. They will add a third person, and they did. It was Bronson Reed. And I'm going to say it again, Rob, in another Ibu bomb. This isn't it. This isn't it.
Not it at all.
This is not it. We're going to add again. So you guys can lock in for that one. And I think once we get that fourth person, you're going to get a formal name for this group. But until then, stay tuned. I'll talk about the rumor right now. So Paul Heyman, I thought he did a great job. Paul Heyman, his job was to get Bronson Reed over and Braun Breaker over. He said that if Skynet were to descend and send down a Terminator, it would look like Braun Breaker. And that Braun Breaker was the future of wrestling and that he'd be main eventing the next couple WrestleManias, which is something that I agree with. And he used the phrase bloodline and by mentioning the Steiner bloodline. And he was basically just propping him up as like a blue chipper. So good stuff there. Braun looked the business. He looked great. Went to Bronson Reed. And he framed it as WWE didn't want Bronson Reed fighting top tiers in the company because he was going to destroy them. So that was cool. And he basically presented Bronson Reed as this dangerous killer, this dangerous fucking monster, right? And he basically said that through Seth Rollins' altruism and charitability, Rollins took him in. Heyman was talking about how Bronson Reed wanted to make a big splash, and he did so by killing Seth with the repeated tsunamis. Folks, if you didn't know, and I don't remember what show I revealed this on, Rob, you remember the famous, I guess famous is a stretch, but do you remember the angle at the SummerSlam last year when Bronson Reed gave Seth Rollins repeated tsunamis over and over and over and over again? You're muted, Rob.
Oh, sorry. Yes. I didn't realize I was muted.
So, for those of you that have been listening to me on these pods, that whole angle was Paul Heyman's idea. They had a creative meeting before SummerSlam. The idea was, how do we get this show really rolling after SummerSlam? And the idea was, we got to really go hard with Damian Priest, with Bronson Reed, and with Braun Breaker. That was the conversation. Priest, Breaker, Reed. And
what was Priest in the conversation? Where I'm not, no disrespect to Priest.
Well, Paul was saying that Paul's idea was, if you pay attention to the crowds, they're turning and they're leaning more towards Damian. And let's make him real. And let's make him genuine. He's a Boricua. He's a street dude. He's a tough guy. He's a tough guy from New York. And I don't know if you notice this, guys. When different writers handle certain wrestlers, they're presented completely differently. When Paul Heyman has his hands on Damian Priest, he's a tough street guy from fucking Brooklyn or the Bronx. I forgot where he's from, but he's a tough street Boricua from New York who doesn't play no games, and he's an ass kicker, and he's fucking Undertaker. That's Paul
Right.
Heyman's. That's Paul Heyman and Damian Priest. And if you notice, folks, pay close attention. When he's away from Paul, he becomes like goth vampire aesthetic demon man Damian Priest. And if you notice,
Becomes Undertaker. Damian Priest.
basically bisexual Undertaker, legitimately. If you notice on SmackDown, he's kind of reverting back to that Damian Priest. Eyeliner, the wings, the like that type of gear, that type of presentation, that kind of presentation, right? So yeah, if you notice, the priest that we saw in like August, September, October, he had the Puerto Rico bandana. He's talking like he's a hood dude, that kind of guy, right? That was Paul's idea. That's Paul's vision for Damian Priest. Anyway, in the creative meeting, he was like, listen, tsunami, 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 tsunami. Bronson Reed is not over yet, but he has the physical tools to get over. We need to accentuate the things that he does great. We need to de-emphasize the things that he's not great at. He's physically imposing, and the tsunami looks good. So instead of just watching it one time in a match, why don't we just have him do that one thing that he does really great over and over and over and over again? And he pitched music. Listen, tsunami, 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 tsunami. And he's doing really animated. He's explaining it to the guys. And he's like, having tsunami the fucking refs, the fucking security guards, Seth Rollins, everybody in sight. He's going to be a disruptor, a guy that just dismantles the fabric of the show. That was his idea. And so it doesn't surprise me now that fast
He did
forward.
that. You know who else he did that with though, Ibu?
What's up?
Since he started booking, he did that with 911. 911 was the first person he did that with.
That's always been Paul. Accentuate a guy's positive and then just spam that one thing. 911, choke slams, ass kicker, right? Fast forward, brother. Sandman, he accentuated the positives. He swings a cane. His matches aren't too long. Rhino, killer. Taz, suplexes. Brock Lesnar in his second run, German suplexes. German suplexes and Kimura lock and F5. We don't need to see Brock sell too much. And he didn't have Brock doing all this other transition spots and working holds and snap mares and headlock takeovers. That wasn't Lesnar. It was all explosiveness, all killer, no filler. 8 minutes, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, suplex, 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 suplex. It's MMA, it's UFC. That's always been Heyman. That's always been Heyman. What's the coolest, most dangerous thing you do? That's the only thing you're going to do now. So, with that said,
he legitimately didn't let 911 do anything else but a chokeslam because he didn't know how to do anything else but a chokeslam.
Right. Anyway, so I liked how Heyman framed Bronson Reed, and I thought he was really good at hyping him up. And it reminds me, man, this is what that's his bread and butter, right? What he was doing in the Bloodline, especially in those last couple of years, was like terrible in my opinion. The wise man shit got like really bad on TV, in my opinion. Just like the groveling, subservient, jowl shaking, scared guy. The last year of that was terrible. And in Mania season specifically, when he was like begging Roman Reigns for forgiveness and shit, I thought he was so bad. And I was like, man, what happened to Paul? You're supposed to be a hype man. You're supposed to be a promoter. You're supposed to get me excited to see a match. What the fuck is this? So I thought Heyman's part of the promo was really good. Seth Rollins' part of the promo, he went on and on and on and on and on and on and talked really long. I like the core idea that he was talking about, and I like that there's clarity in their mission, because the whole thing of just we want the power and we want to ensure the future of wrestling, that can easily be vague, vacuous bullshit, right? But
Right.
he did explain how he plans to go about achieving what he's setting out, and he made it clear. I am going. So he made it clear, like, we're going for titles. We want control. You control WWE by having the championships. And it ties together all the ideas of, we have the titles, we have Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman has power in WWE. We get what we want. I can believe that. I can buy that. And as a wrestling fan, it's a simple premise. These guys want championships, and then the championships bring the money, the titles, the fame, the gold, the control. I can buy that. When it's the vague motives, I hate that kind of shit.
Right.
So he wants control.
You don't know what we're fighting for, but sooner rather than later, you will find out. Like, that shit's so lame.
Yeah. No, it was clear. Now, Seth could have gone through that whole thing in 5 minutes less. He went a little long, But I do like the idea of the stable, and I did like the segment. One thing I would tweak, Rob,
Mhm.
Braun Breaker should talk a little bit at least. I get Bronson Reed not talking; he's not a great promo. But I think when the crowd starts chanting things like "fuck you, Rollins" and they heckle him, I think Braun Breaker should snatch the mic from Seth and go full Scott Steiner. And be like, hey, shut your fat asses up, shut your bitch asses up.
Shut your mouth. You respect that man.
I'll go out there and spear every one of you sons of bitches. Something like that. Braun Breaker should say something like that. Literally just unhinged, take the mic, tell everybody to shut the fuck up or he's gonna spear him and fucking kill him, and then give Seth the mic back. And while Braun, listen, that's this. You have him do that. Seth and Heyman are just chuckling, laughing, talking to each other. Like, look at our dog here. Yeah, that's Braun for you. Braun hands the mic back to Seth. I'd like something like that as a touch. So there you go. But I did like the opening segment. What did you think of it, Rob?
I thought the opening segment was fantastic. I know we were on Worldwide, but I went back and watched it after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Paul Heyman's way of introducing people and introducing a concept and introducing like what is wanted specifically in a faction or if something he's leading. Like when he did the bloodline, he explained it simply. He was like, the whole ideal of the bloodline is for Roman to sit there and bring his family to the very very top, the pinnacle of what WWE is supposed to be. It's the same way with all of his. It's been that way with all of his factions from the Dangerous Alliance on down. So yeah, he's very good at that.
Yep. What's our next super chat here?
See the Scalus with 9.99. Thanks Ibu for being the only good poster on wrestling Twitter. Is WWE aware of the creative decline lately, or are they in denial? Are they going to do anything about it? If so,
Yeah. So here's the deal. Coming out of Mania, Levesque's idea was SmackDown is going to be the show built around the tag team division, and Raw would be the show built around the women. And his idea, the reason why he wanted this was because he said, I want identities for these brands and I want something to hang our hat on. The reason why Heyman has the stable is because Hunter found the TV is hard to write. He felt that without a top angle with top baby faces, it was kind of a struggle coming up with ways to open and close Monday Night Raw. And as you can see, once you have that formula, it's much easier to put together the TV. Are they aware of a decline? What I can tell you is that they are absolutely online and they read your feedback. And it's why, if nothing else, and I don't think SmackDown's a great show. I think it's improved marginally since like the last time we've had this State of the Union. Um, but if you notice, though, the matchmaking on the show has improved. It has. Because before they would throw LA Knight and Miz graphics on there. You know what I mean? And Miz would do Miz TV segments. And now at the very least, there is more of a focus on getting some of the better workers on the show. So that doesn't immediately fix all the issues at all. The crowds are still bad, and everybody does feel like they're still kind of like in rigid zones. But even just over the last week, they have meetings. I'll tell you this. I'll share this story. Somebody in creative reached out to me after my SmackDown rant on the Raw review, and they basically said that we don't really object to any of your opinions, and you're entitled to have them. But don't think that we don't care. Was kind of what this one person said to me. He was like, "We listen to everybody's podcasts, we read the tweets, and every week we're trying to make some type of tweak or adjustment to make the show better." And what they cited to me as
you
the most,
sure?
that's what they claimed. And then they said what they cited to me was they're like, for example, we heard what you were saying about Solo Sokoa, and we heard what you were saying about the zone thing. And they're saying if you paid attention on this week's SmackDown, we expanded the tag team division so that it's not just them fighting each other, and that's why now we have Jeff Cobb and Jacob Fatu looking at those guys, but also Jacob Fatu will continue to defend his belt against certain guys. And then they told me that Andrade is going to get a title shot against Jacob Fatu at some point soon. So um, I guess I say all that to say that they claim that we are looking at everything and we're always trying to make the show a little bit better than the week before. That's what they claim. What else was the other thing? Is WWE aware of the creative decline? Yeah. So here's the thing about this part. Like
Bro.
they're clearly trying to book crowd pleasing matches on these TVs. It's why they booked the Dragon Lee, Penta, and Chad Gable in a 3-way. But it's this weird thing where they try to feed the hardcore something, but then they'll book some shit on pay-per-view that's like so like just corporate TKO circle jerk bullshit, and it's like, who's this for? Like this fucking,
Yeah.
whether it be Travis Scott's involvement in things or whether it be, just these Logan Paul, just the shit they do with Logan Paul, for example. And it's always funny when you see fans saying things like, "Oh my god, it's for the casuals." Okay, say, bro, casuals like good wrestling like any other people. You know what I mean? I don't like they don't have different brains. Like, stop devaluing yourself and your taste and what you want out of wrestling. And if this thing that you're pointing it out is for the casuals, what's for the hardcores at this point? What's for the wrestling fans? What's for the people that actually watch the product regularly? I hate
Mhm.
that. I hate that defense. I think it's bullshit. But to answer Sean's question, or Seath, or I don't even know how to read his name. They claim that they're always, quote unquote, trying to make the show better than they did the week before, and they pay attention to people's feedback. So there you go. There you go.
Ebu Mania 14, $4.99. Boo bro, what surprises are we getting at Evolution 2? Somebody like Mariah or other surprises?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't think Mariah May will be free by that point. I'm pretty sure she's not yet. And if I'm being honest, I've been very insistent on this. I'm pretty sure she's starting in NXT.
Yeah, no.
So people keep like
Yeah.
getting mad at when I say that, and they kind of fight back or push back. I'm pretty sure she's starting in NXT, but we'll see.
It's like, bro,
I
not
don't.
everybody that was at AEW like is gonna get thrown onto the main roster instantly because they were at AEW. Ricky was in NXT for a reason. Ethan was in NXT for a reason. Same
Yeah,
way Jade and all of them were on the main roster for a reason.
yeah. Plus, I want to make this very clear, guys. I said this before, guys. I'm telling you this so you don't waste your money on the super chat. If somebody is still under contract for another promotion, does WWE tamper? Yes, they do. Does WWE formulate creative plans ahead of time sometimes for people that are still in another place? Usually, what they don't do is leak to the media what those are.
Right.
Mariah May is still under AEW contract, and y'all are asking me what she's going to do in WWE. Let's cross that bridge when it comes. She's not even free yet as a free agent. She's under AEW contract. She hasn't even signed a WWE deal yet, and the public doesn't know where she's even going to. And y'all are asking what is her first angle like on WWE programming. So they probably know or have an idea, but chances are I'm not going to. Now, there's occasions where I do. Like, I knew what Bobby Lashley was going to do in AEW before he even got out of WWE. But generally speaking, it's not common for the media folk to get a hold of what it is yet. So just everybody, like, cool your jets with that stuff.
Yeah, like he would say, bro, y'all trying to get me caught up, bro.
Yeah.
Black Yakuza 94, $10. I got around to listening to the part of Worldwide, and I just want to say, grab Easy Boo. You will not speak even the possibility of Hangman losing into the air. You understand, sir? Hangman will win.
I like Hangman Page. I support Hangman Page. I root for Hangman Page. And maybe he's
You
gonna
know,
do it.
nigga.
Maybe he beats Mox. Maybe he actually does beat Mox.
You're so like you're just a liar, bro. Like I don't understand why you lie about these things. But no, that's not true. Um, CN for €5. Is it in Dom's contract that he always has a beautiful woman in his orbit? At this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if Stephanie was after Roxanne. Greed.
Bro, somebody in creative loves Dom, bro. Like, I'm just watching how, like, the shit that he gets to do on TV, and I'm like, this is crazy, bro. Like, nigga was a Rhea Ripley, and then Liv Morgan was twerking on him for a whole year, and now Roxanne is walking in with short shorts giving him nuggets. This is a crazy life to live, bro. This is a crazy life to live. Somebody in creative's like, yo, Dom is just a cool ass nigga. We gonna bless him. It's funny. I made a tweet about that. Someone from WWE reached out to me. It was like, we've seen the young man grow up before our eyes, man. We're so proud of him. We love him. So, like I said, somebody in creative loves Dom. If Stephanie is next, would it surprise me? No, it wouldn't. It's clear Dominic is just the guy that gets baddies now in WWE, just canonically. Even more than Eddie Guerrero. It's crazy. Who has a better roster than Dom at this point in WWE history? It's insane. So there you go. In WWE canon,
right.
the Mysterio Riz is untouched. I'll admit
Not
this.
just
A Carlito quip actually got me last night. He
what he
uh
say?
he
What he
he
do?
looked at Dom after Roxanne was like, being on flirtation. He was like, "You got to stop trying to eat her nuggets, man." And Dom was just kind of like, "Hey, man, that actually did make me chuckle."
Yeah, I love Carlito's role of being like the comedic relief of the Judgment Day instead of like him wrestling horrible matches on a few Raws. So yeah, no.
I forgot what I was gonna say. But oh no, yeah. So here's the thing about Carlito. Last year, when they were like in the middle of the year, when they were giving him TV matches, it was like, "What are you doing?" Like, he's an awful wrestler. He's like the worst wrestler in the world, But Carlito is just a guy that in pre-tapes that just says one line, and like usually it's funny. That's fine. It's a crazy way to
Yeah.
have like a 3-year contract where you don't have to wrestle, and all you gotta do is give a quip. Like that. That is a crazy easy hustle, But good for him.
Well, the intention. I'm pretty sure the intention was for him to wrestle. They looked at him wrestling and said, "Oh boy,
Right.
oh boy, Jesus." Johnny Bernie, 199. Hangman FC, see Ibu. See Thursday Ibu. Stay over at Punk FC.
I think the idea that you can't like CM Punk and Hangman Page is mentally ill. I like both wrestlers. I think they're both incredible. Shout out to CM Punk. Shout out to Hangman Page. Punk was helping some people with their stuff yesterday at TV.
Sounds bad.
Anyways,
So whatever was bad on the TV, you know who it came from.
hey man.
Darren Walker, 5 pounds. What happened to Kaiser? Since that social media post in reply to Charlotte, he has not been seen on TV since.
I have absolutely no idea. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
no, like
He used to
I don't
be
think anybody
the
has any
office. The
idea.
office loved him last year. So if he has heat, it would be a new thing, and I'm not privy to whatever that would be. But I do know that last year, the office loved him, and you could kind of tell. I don't know what's
He
changed. If
he
anything has
he's
changed, I don't know. I don't know.
he's been doing promos on commercial breaks during the Raw shows. So
Right, but my point is like he used to be a regular on the main show, and
yeah,
it's because
no,
they thought he was awesome, and I'm not sure if that's changed or if something has happened, and I'm not saying something did. I'm just saying if something happened to where now he has heat, it would be a new thing.
Stephen Conroy, four 5 pounds, excuse me. Cross getting monster pops for throwaway backstage segments. It might be over. Carrying the hashtag carrying the briefcase. Ew. Yeah,
Listen,
that's
man,
disgusting.
this is his look. I think Karrion Kross's calling in life is doing good backstage segments. He's good at them. He's good at talking to people in backstage pre-tapes. He executes that very, very well. Cross as a
Yeah,
devil on his shoulder character on the show, that's fine. I have no desire to see him wrestle. And I think the more he does wrestle, the more people will get over their psyop they're currently in. So it is what it is.
Alex H, 5 pounds. Seth's weak ass finisher couldn't keep Sammy Goat down. We kick out of those. Didn't even pin Sammy. Ooh, I love being protected. Well, guess what?
I felt like Seth Rollins. I feel like he did like 9 pedigrees in that match, but every counter was cool. I like the pedigree as a wrestling move. I gotta say. It's funny that Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn match. It's kind of started out like a cookie cutter WWE 3-way, and it was worked at like a house show level intensity. But over time, um, it started to pick up, and Sami Zayn just flips the switch, and he's just like, "I'm gonna be fucking awesome in this match," and it's crazy. I think Sami Zayn He's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and it's in a certain like genre.
I agree.
Like it's weird. Like he doesn't like wrestle like Will Ospreay, you know, and have these like explosive, fiery, firework wrestling matches. And he kind of is physically incapable of doing that. That's kind of not been his thing for years. But he can still be great through feel, through drama, through his selling, through his timing for when he does his main stuff. And it's like the Tanahashi genre of wrestling is the best way to put it. You know, Jim Cornette once upon a time compared him to Ricky Steamboat back when he was El Generico. And I was watching him last night and I was thinking about this and I was like, I have not seen Generico wrestle much since I was in like college, Rob. Like like now that I'm really thinking about it, I haven't watched Generico in years. What I was trying to ask myself was Sammy always like this? Because Sammy used to be like the dynamic guy who did really, really beautiful lucha libre, and he was so crisp and smooth and dynamic, right? And he had great babyface charm. He worked like he was in fucking CMLL, but he also kind of had like hard hitting as a part of his game. And now he's this classical babyface that has like parts of Terry Funk in his game. And like I said, the timing of when to do his signature stuff is amazing. It's like Keiji Muto or like Hiroshi Tanahashi, where like Tanahashi just knows when to do the dragon screw, knows when to do the sling blade, knows when to set up for the high five flow. With Sammy now, same exact thing. Knows when to sell, knows when to fire up, knows when to do the forearm exchange, knows when to do the exploder suplex, especially the Blue Thunder Bomb, and the way he gets the Blue Thunder Bomb, and the way he gets the people to go crazy for a Blue Thunder Bomb near fall, even though it never wins matches. Like he's like a master. And I'm just watching this match, and they're having an average WWE 3-way, and then Sami Zayn just decides midway, like, I'm gonna just like give this a touch of personality that it didn't have, because it was like an AI WWE triple threat match, and Sammy just gives it a personal touch and really gives it some personality. And his stuff with Seth Rollins is really good. I tweeted about this and people got mad at me, but like, this was not derogatory. I said Seth Rollins is Mr. 3.5 / Mr. 3.75 generally to me. Yeah. Normally, big singles match Seth Rollins, he has like good to very good wrestling matches rather than like a blowaway match of the year candidates. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Being consistently good isn't a good thing. WWE clearly values it. That's why he's leading the top heel stable. But what I said was, even though that's Seth Rollins' range, I think that the inevitable Seth-Sammy singles match will probably be incredible and probably be one of Seth's best matches. Because every time I see flashes of Seth and Sammy, it's really, really nice. I really like what I see. And their exchanges in this main event last night were great. So the action was good. Sami Zayn really did his damn thing. Finn Balor at this point is the ultimate glue guy. I think fans need to like understand what Finn Balor is in 2025. The people that are like, oh my God, when are they going to push Finn? When are they going to push Finn? Why is Finn losing this? People thought he's going to qualify for Money in the Bank. And I'm like, bro, guys, get over yourself. You know, that'll never happen. Finn Balor.
Right, like, come on.
Finn Balor will never be pushed in this company ever again. Finn Balor is a veteran. He's a good hand, and he's a glue guy. He does not have it in singles matches anymore. He can't go through the gears to take those matches to the next level. What he is in a tag team match, in a multi-man, he's glue. He is the guy that kind of bridges certain spots together. He's the guy that plays his role and knows when to do what. He's a very, very reliable and valued veteran. And I thought he kind of displayed that again yesterday in a match that, for whatever reason, some WWE fans foolishly thought he was going to win. Finn Balor was never going to Money in the Bank, brother. Never. That's not happening. He is 45. There you go. But so my point is, I thought the match ended up being a real nice TV main event, thanks to Sami Zayn, and I think that the inevitable Seth-Sammy match will be pretty fucking awesome. So I'm looking forward to it. Aladdin in the comments said, you were gaslighting with that. Also, Seth rarely has matches with top guys one-on-one, if you think about it. His trilogy with Cody was amazing, for example, but in general, he never fights the top guys. I mean, he's wrestled Drew McIntyre a lot. So, like, what do you mean? He's worked top guys. If I like go through it now, Seth Rollins has main events with top. Is Jey Uso not considered a top guy? My point is, when Seth Rollins is in a big spot, his matches tend to be very good rather than like unbelievable. Yeah, he's wrestled CM Punk a bunch. Yeah, the point is, Will Ospreay on pay-per-view, you know that's going to be like a near match of the year candidate. You know, like a Hangman Page, for example, similar. Kenny,
Right.
Seth Rollins in big spots, usually.
You see the match graphic, you know what happens, but you see the match graphic, you're like, that could be great, but
Well, yeah,
not sure.
and yeah, my point is like Seth in big spots has like very good wrestling matches. He doesn't have like unbelievable, like holy fuck, this is a match of the year candidate type matches. And my point was that's kind of him. That's the Seth Rollins match. But with certain guys, he can have incredible matches. His matches with Cody Rhodes are great. They were. But generally speaking, he has good to very good matches. And my point was, with Sami Zayn, he will probably have an excellent match. And that wasn't to denigrate Seth Rollins. You know, the idea, bro, people like, we've lost the plot now that like people think a 3.5 star match or a 3 3/4 star match means I think someone's bad or I think the match is bad. We've absolutely lost our fucking minds. And it's also because people don't know how to rate matches now. So like if you even halfway like the match, people give it 4 now. I've seen people on Twitter go, this was decent, 4 stars. Brother, if a match is decent, it's like a 3-star match. Like what the fuck? So there you go. Dude, last night someone asked me, that Switchblade season account, I believe is his name. He goes, what did you think of the 3-way, the Dragon Lee Penta Gable 3-way? He said, what would you rate it? I said I'd give it like 3.5 stars, 3 3/4 stars. And someone basically said someone called me like a hater. And I was like, guys, I'm on record saying I thought the match was like awesome and like exhilarating and exciting. So if I thought the match was great or awesome and I gave it that score for what was basically like an 8-minute sprint, that didn't mean I hated the match. What the fuck is wrong with everybody? How have we lost the plot with star ratings? Anyways, I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
Like I you know me with star rating, so I do my thing.
It's just, bro, people be like, that was okay, 4.25. What the fuck? What?
Like obviously, if I see like with me, if I see a match is like clearly bad and below a 3, then I'll give it below a 3. If it made me, if I enjoyed myself during the match and I enjoyed the work, but it didn't move me, like get me emotional, make me jump out of my seat, or I'll be like, oh shit, or whatever the case may be, then yeah, it'll be like, you know what I mean? It'll be like a 3.25. But if it like super moves me and shit like that, 3 3/4,
you know what?
4 star, we're there.
I'm gonna give. Yeah, it's just, bro, we've absolutely lost the plot with this thing because most TV matches that are really strong are like 3.5, guys. Like, but now any match that has a good closing stretch, niggas have to break 4 on it. And it's like, think of all the matches that have happened in the history of pro wrestling. Think about it. And if 5 is the peak, you're telling me that every week we're getting like 17 4-star matches. I mean, maybe you just love wrestling that much, but I don't know. This is what I'm gonna do. Let's pull up Raw and Cage match right now.
Let's go.
Dragon Lee versus Chad Gable versus Penta Cage match. All right, let's do this thing. Okay. Cage match, loved it. 8.19. Fair score. 10-minute match. Great action. I'd give this 3 3/4 stars. I think this was one of the coolest, most authentically exciting WWE matches of the year. What I mean by that is, if you notice, Rob, and I don't know if the chat's going to get this, sometimes WWE will put a match graphic out and it'll have super workers, right? And people get excited for the graphic, but if you watch the match in actuality, in practice on Raw or SmackDown, the guys tend to have a match that there's a sneaking feeling of like, this would be better in another company. Like,
right, bro, like you could say that so many times.
yes,
So many match graphics from the 2010s. Because so many super workers from the indies get matches on SmackDown and Raw, or like something along those lines, and then it's like a shitty match on a Raw.
Like sometimes,
just like Jesus.
Oh my god, most easy example: Ray Phoenix faced Nathan Frazier on SmackDown in Phoenix's debut, and for whatever reason, it was like just okay. And like you're watching it, you're like, oh, that would be like a fucking 4-star match in PWG. That'd be amazing. But my point is, the biggest appeal of Dragon Lee, Penta, and Gable is they had a match that's the exact same match they would have had with that amount of time in Globe Theater.
Yeah.
They would have had that exact match on a Dynamite. So it felt really authentic. Like you felt like this is exactly what Chad, Dragon Lee, and Penta would do. So there was a real appeal to watching these guys play their music their way, specifically with no filter. So I thought that aspect of it was awesome. The all action aspect of it was awesome. I thought it was, for that is like one of the coolest, most memorable WWE TV matches of the year. So for that, I go 3 3/4 on this. Rusev Tozawa, not rating that. New Day versus War Raiders versus American Made. So this is what I'd call a fake party match. So this had the formula of a party match, a bunch of guys running around, jumping and flipping and diving and, doing cartwheels and things like that. They worked hard, but it didn't capture the electricity of a true party match, like a truly great party match. But it wasn't bad or boring either. I would give this match 3 stars, and I thought the guys did their thing. So it was pretty good. In spite of the fact that I think the New Day are really boring right now. Kairi Sane,
Guys,
Liv Morgan.
He's not disrespecting Tozawa. The match was just like 30 seconds.
Right.
Like,
Kairi, oh my God, someone said slumber party. I'm gonna use that. Anytime we get a fake party match that isn't actually super electric, we're gonna call it a slumber party match. Liv Morgan,
that match was wow.
Liv Morgan, Kairi Sane.
Wow.
Kairi Sane mechanically is like okay at best these days, but she has a lot of charisma that makes up for it. Liv Morgan with the right person is good. This was like all right until the end where Kairi's controller dies and they start botching all over the place.
That was
I like that Kairi got the win. This is a match that if the Wrestle Pure spreadsheet was still existed, I'd give Kairi and Liv Morgan 2 1/4 stars. So that's what I'd do there. The main event, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, I go 3.5 on this. I thought this ended up being a really nice match, and Sami Zayn was fantastic in the closing stretch. So that I did that exercise, folks, just to kind of give you a baseline of how I would do this. If the chat wants me to publicly rate any other recent shows, matches, speak now or forever hold your peace in the chat. I'll give you guys 10 seconds. Otherwise, we'll go to the next super chat. So I'll give you all 10 seconds to list what happened to the prolonged Tozawa match, Ibu. Typical Fed bullshit, dude. They wanted this to be like a back and forth thing, and then come TV time, it ends up being really short, which, if you ask me, I mean, I could go conspiracy and say Rusev said I'm not selling for Tozawa, but I'm not going to do that. That'd be irresponsible. So I don't know. Trick and Joe. Okay, Monet Hater. I went 3 3/4 on Jamie Hater and Mercedes Monet. Thought it was very, very well wrestled and steady and had good drama. Will versus Hangman. I might go 5 on that. Mark Briscoe Ricochet 4 1/4. Grace versus Vaquer. I thought that was phenomenal. I'd go 4 stars on Jordan and Stephanie. People are just saying double or nothing. All right, you know what? I'll just pull up double or nothing. Let's fucking do it. Whatever. Double.
Do it. Let's do it, brother.
Double or nothing 2025. Cage match. Pull that shit up. All right. Yeah, I'd go 3 3/4 on Jamie and Mercedes. I thought this was a really, really, really strong opener. I love the wrestling in here. FTR versus DG and Nigel. They went very, very long and had a nice closing stretch. I think I'd give this 3 1/4 or 3.5. Mark Briscoe Ricochet stretcher match. Great performance from Ricochet. Mark Briscoe, the blood, the cool, sick high spots, the Sabu tributes. This was fucking excellent. This is actually one of my favorite AEW pay-per-view matches of the year. I think I'd go 4 1/4 on this, to be honest with you. So there you go. Hurt Syndicate versus Sons of Texas. 2 1/4 for this one. Steady and decent action. Kind of got sloppy at the end. Went a bit long at the end, and the camera missed a bunch of spots. 2 1/4. Okada, Mike Bailey. 3 3/4 to 4 stars. Mike Bailey's striking was excellent. Okada was doing his thing. It was an ethical, great match where they didn't try to overly extend it for drama. 3 3/4 to 4 stars. Tony Storm and Luther and Mina Shirakawa. I thought this was pretty boring. Tony's over now. She's a made girl. People like Mina. She's charismatic. Didn't capture me. I think I go 2 3/4 on this one. Anarchy in the Arena. I'm gonna give this. Let's go with 4 3/4. 4 3/4 on this one. Callis family versus Paragon. This is too low on cage match. This was manly. This was direct. This had good physicality. They did their damn thing. I'm going 3.25. I like this match a lot. Main event: Adam Page and Will Ospreay. I'm thinking I'm going 5 on this one, baby. I think I'm going 5. And you know what? While we're there, let's pull up NXT. You guys are getting bonus Ebu star ratings here. NXT, what was the name of the show? Battleground 2025. Let's go,
Let's
Cage
look.
match.
Let's see what we get. What are we giving the battleground matches? I know what
No.
I'm giving Tony versus Stacks.
All right. Sol Rukazaria, folks. If you missed my extended review of this match, I gave it yesterday, and so you know, if you want to hear it, it's on yesterday's thing. I'm giving Sol Ruka. I said Zaria, Sol Ruka and Kalani. I'm giving this 3 stars. I like both ladies. I like the stuff that they do. Again, I explained why I felt the way I did, but I'll go 3 on this one. I'll go 3 on this one. All right.
You said Zarya. I think you said Zarya.
Yeah, I corrected myself. I said it's Kalani.
Oh, okay.
Hank and Tank and Josh Briggs versus the Culling. So my hot take of the show was this was actually pretty sick. I thought this match.
Hey man.
Yeah, and I don't even like Hank and Tank. I think they're a psyop. I think Hank and Tank are a TKO psyop, and in a year or two they're going to be on the main roster in a collaborative situation where they're going to like tailgate and drink with like George Kittle, the football player George Kittle and Pat McAfee. I already see the psyop, but nevertheless they work hard, and I thought this
the Culling members that's not named Sean Spears, man.
Relax, Rob. I'm giving this 3.25. I actually like this match. Channing, Stacks, Lorenzo, and Tony D'Angelo. Channing, so Stacks is really bad. This is way above his pay grade. He is not a singles push wrestler. He was fine in tags as the energy guy. This is way too big of a spot for him. I thought Tony D's work here was actually pretty decent, but Stacks could not meet it. And the finish that they did was appalling. Folks, if you missed it, Tony D he had the upper hand and he was going to win. And then he kept punching Stacks, and then he stopped, and then he looked at his hands and he lamented his violence and looked at his hands and was like, what am I doing? Why am I so violent? How could I do this to Stacks? There was dialogue, there was staring, there was lamentation, and this finish was fucking horrendous.
And then Luca Crucifino teleported into frame. All of a sudden, and then Tony D was distracted by the ghost of
yes.
Luca Crucifino.
He looks at Luca Crucifino, and then he gets low blowed and loses. I'm giving this 1 star. This was a piece of shit. I already rated Stephanie and Jordan 4 stars. I thought this was excellent. Miles Bourne versus Obafemi. I like Miles Bourne. I thought the appeal of him at first, though, was that he was a shooter that looked like Randy and had a Randy Orton-style power slam and dropkick. They've now diminished the shoot style elements of his game and gone full Randy Jr. When I liked the suplexes and the mat stuff. He does some of the suplexes at the end, but I don't like that they've gone full like he's just little Randy. With that said, I like Miles Bourne. I like that they booked this match. I thought it was an inspired choice of a title defense for Obafemi. And they should continue to give guys like this a chance more than like the people that clearly have no future. Like, no disrespect to Eddie Thorpe, for example. He had no future in WWE at all. He had no future. He was never going to do anything on the main roster. So why don't you give more chances to Miles Bourne, to Javon Evans, to Tavion Heights, rather than guys like that? I did like this match. I thought his comeback was good. It went a little long. I'm going 3.25. Good match. Good match for Obafemi. The ruler retains 3.25.
You know what I feel? Oh, that's not the main event.
No, it was not. The main event was Joe Hendry and Trick Williams. So I think Trick Williams is a bad wrestler. And I think Joe Hendry is a bad wrestler. And there's one spot in this match that is like, there's one spot in this match that's really, 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 really gruesome. That's making the rounds, where like Trick tries to shoot Joe Hendry off, doesn't do it properly because he can't do an Irish whip, and then like they have a miscommunication and it's really ugly, and then Trick's in the ref the way of the ref, blah blah blah, right? But take that spot out and take out the fact that I don't really like these wrestlers as wrestlers. This had like Rock Hogan heat, and they had a cosplay attitude era main event.
Stop.
And I actually like that formula a lot.
Stop.
That's true. And so
stop, bro, because you know they listen to you, bro. They're gonna hear you be like, "Yo, I like this. This was not offensive." And then they're gonna be like,
maybe
we should find Hendry.
I don't need this in my life, but I'm gonna give this 3 stars. Anwar calls me a heat pervert. I am a heat pervert. Wrestling is about making people happy. And the crowd was super loud for this. They got really, really into it. I'm giving it 3 stars. And you know what? Cage Match has it at 6.93. That would average out. To like 3.25. So I'm not that off the mark of the masses here. Again, it had super heat. Super heat, simple match. The spots worked. I think that's a fair score. And I'm saying that as somebody that doesn't really like these guys. So Battleground was a decent little show. I went 3.25 on 2 matches, 3 stars on 2 other matches, and 4 on one of them. So
You know what I will say? Though.
yes.
I feel like the acquisition of AAA and the soon to be acquisition of TNA, and the soon to be acquisition of Noah, it can work well for all these, because let's be honest here, they're all getting bought anyway. I feel like all 3 of these promotions, though, working with WWE and allowing some of their talent in NXT to go over there and work with them, can be beneficial for a lot of these guys. I know a AAA doesn't have a lot of the greatest talent on the fucking planet in AAA right now. Like, there's only like 3 or 4 guys you would actually pluck from that roster and put on main roster or NXT television right now. But with that being said, I feel like the partnerships that WWE has right now is currently good for them, because some of these guys need those partnerships, bro. The way that a lot of the guys that we saw because a lot of these guys, Ibu, right, are roughly PC trained, right? And what I'm getting at is the way a lot of the roughly PC trained and never really worked anywhere else guys got their reps in and got better, aka like the Street Profits, Bianca Belair, all of them, because they made them work other places. Like, they made them work Evolve and other places like that. And so I feel like Stacks as a guy that could benefit from I wouldn't call it an excursion, but
Yo,
I
Rob,
feel like he could be. Huh?
I don't think Stacks is ever gonna get good, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh no, I don't. I'm not saying I'm not saying he's gonna get good. I'm not saying he has a future if he does go on an excursion. But I'm saying that's why the system that they have in place now, where the guys can go other places, is good. So that if a guy, if a guy like Stacks, you send a guy like Stacks, right, to TNA for 3 or 4 months, to Mexico for 3 or 4 months, and he still doesn't get better. Okay, well then now you have a justified reason to cut him. So I don't know though.
Look, the best example is Tavion Heights, who completely transformed overnight after just 1 month in Japan, and he realistically should have stayed like a couple more months, because they brought him back and they didn't even fucking use him. So like, let him just stay and get better and become like a really good wrestler, and then you have a great.
That was really annoying, bro. Because
fucking stupid.
imagine if Tavion Heights stayed the rest of that year, even stayed until the Mania weekend this year.
Bro, what did he? Okay, listen. He and Miles had a really good match with Fraxium in December. Take that out, he did nothing until Mania. So why not just keep him for all these months? He would have came back now a demon, a total demon. So that was stupid. He's facing Mike Santana tonight, and I can tell you guys this: WWE wants Mike Santana. They've been trying to like get at him for a minute now, but he's very, very principled, and he's very much like, I'm in TNA. I'm a TNA wrestler. I'm going to see this deal out, and we can talk when my deal is over, and then you can come correct. I'm not going to try to get out of my deal. I'm not going to ask for a release. I'm not going to do any of that. You're not going to buy it out. I'm in TNA. I'm doing my thing. But WWE does want Mike Santana. They've been trying to get a hold of him popping up on their shows for a minute. They tried to do the same thing with Josh Alexander. They wanted to soft launch Josh Alexander on their TV before signing him. And Josh strategically avoided it. And I think it's a fair assumption now to say that he probably avoided it because he had a feeling he was going to AEW and said, okay, I'm going to just duck this shit. So they've now moved to Mike Santana. Santana makes his debut tonight. He will be a TNA wrestler for a couple more months. He's going to beat Trick Williams for the title, likely at the UBS show, Slammiversary, and we'll see where that goes. But WWE is hot on his trail, and they want him. So we'll see if he wants. We'll see if he wants them, and if he takes the bait. But I'll say this: I like Mike Santana a lot. I've talked extensively about like my thoughts on him. What I like the most is Rob. He showed up on an NXT show and he kept it like he stayed himself. You know, like he kept it in New York. He kept the hood. He was just like, yo, man, I'm a Boricua from the Bronx. You know, and I'm Mike Santana. He was acting like himself, and it stood out because NXT is NPC land. It's a bunch of fucking bots that talk robotically and don't feel authentic, and they're very phony and fake. And then Santana comes out
No,
there,
he's right there. There are like 80 bots, like
bro.
89 bots.
It's a bunch of fucking bots, bro. And then this nigga comes on screen and he's just being like a real human being and being himself. And Tavion Heights came on screen with him and he said, I gotta keep it P too. I gotta keep it G too. So, you know,
Yeah, I peep what you was talking about too. The with his cut and the beard.
yeah, yo, listen,
Tavion.
if y'all have noticed, the no quarter cash crew guys are very talented, but for whatever fucking reason, Shawn Michaels doesn't push them. And so fucking Miles Bourne said, all right, I'm gonna lean into being Randy if you niggas see if you niggas use me. And then Tavion High said, all right, nigga, I'm Roman now. I'm gonna straighten my hair, tie it back, get a skin fade, line up my beard, and now I am Roman Reigns. So we'll see how that helps him. Tall dude, good looking dude, good athlete. Someone asked you to rate Saturday's main event. I'll get that out the way real quickly. I loved the Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins versus Punk and Sami Zayn match. I think it's actually pretty damn underrated, and the post match is awesome. So I'm gonna go 3.5 on this. I like this a lot. Chelsea Green versus Zelina Vega. I thought this was a dud. I thought this was like the worst women's match on a major WWE show in a long time. Really, really, really bad. John Cena, R-Truth, not rating that. Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, 3 stars. Jey Uso, Logan Paul, 2.5. So there you go. There you go. Let's carry on with the super chats, Robert.
Absolutely. Let's get on with the super chat. Sports Fanatic, 40 rupees. EO, relegated to 2-minute segments now.
It's going to be okay, Sports Fanatic. She's going to work Liv Morgan before she works Rhea Ripley.
Paul Heyman in women's wrestling, man.
What I do find funny is no matter what, Becky Lynch going to find herself booked on the pay-per-view. If y'all notice. She's like, nigga, you going to get me on a fucking pay-per-view. I'm not doing this special TV match thing or TV main event. I am doing a fucking pay-per-view. So there you go.
Alrighty. Johnny Burney, 199. Evolution airs after 3 out of 5 shows. Oh, that's a no-win situation. What is it? What is?
I guess I'm not sure what Johnny's saying here. I guess he's saying the fact that like it has to follow a bunch of like wrestling shows. Saturday Night's Main Event.
Oh yeah, because I think there are a bunch of the big thing that everybody's talking about. Because I woke up this morning and saw Great American Bash is like the same time frame.
Yes, it's going toe to toe with AEW's All In show, and then later that night WWE is going to do a Saturday Night's Main Event, and then
what could they pop? Never mind. I'm gonna let you finish. Right.
Right. So the day before there'll be a SmackDown, but yeah, and then on Sunday we get Evolution. Now I don't think Evolution having following it, that stuff is a big deal really. I don't think it's gonna affect it. NXT will be affected by this. WWE are kind of setting NXT up. They keep putting it against, because here's the thing, WWE want to counter program AEW stuff, and they want to kind of like diminish it, like, you know, hurt the buy rate a little bit, maybe hurt the attendance, that kind of thing. But they're doing it passive aggressively, because if WWE wanted to throw like SummerSlam head to head with an AEW show, that would affect AEW. That would affect the viewership. It would affect the buy rate. It would affect the attendance. Doing it with NXT is passive aggressive and doesn't actually hurt AEW. It's just passive aggressive competition. And the thing about that is that actually hurts NXT. Because do we actually think NXT on Peacock is going to be watched as much if it was unopposed versus having to go head to head with AEW's biggest show of the year? The live viewership on Peacock is absolutely going to be affected. And so you're just kind of setting those guys up. And then beyond that, and I said this already on Twitter, but you're just exposing the quality gap between the promotion's big shows. I mean, that happened in the last weekend. WWE set themselves up for such negative conversation because they did a shitty Saturday Night's Main Event and then like an NXT show that was okay, head to head with an AEW show that was like phenomenal. And so people were it was hard not to do the thing of like, man, like this one company is blowing these guys out the water when it comes to these big shows. You're
bro.
setting yourself up for that conversation again. And look, the people that are gonna look, there will be people that will live tweet NXT on that day. There's always people that are just gonna like. There are people that just prefer the Fed to AEW no matter what AEW does. And my opinions on that notwithstanding, that just is what it is. But most people will just watch All In. Most wrestling fans will watch All In. There will be a guy that's gonna live tweet Dark State on that night while fucking Adam Page is fighting Jon Moxley. But they're not the majority. So it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't think it's Evolution. Say, what's up?
No, it's very, and you know another concerning thing about this though, Ibu, it's like they keep doing this to try to like knock down AEW, and and it's like adding to what you said, it doesn't work, bro, because you're not doing, bro. If anything, you're really showing that you're pussy rather than you're trying to prove a point, because you're throwing NXT. Why wouldn't you do a main roster show up against it?
Like I said,
why are you not doing a main roster show up against it? Why are you throwing NXT into the fire? It's the same thing that they.
You know what I do find
Triple H is starting to become. You know what it is, Ibu? Triple H is starting to become no different. Why are you throwing NXT into the fire, or TKO? Why are you throwing NXT into the fire?
Again,
up against AEW, like what?
It's passive aggressive. They don't have the guts to be very direct with the competition, but they want to provide some. So
and not only that, bro, it doesn't work because guys, AEW beat NXT already.
Yes. So here's the funny
AEW beat NXT already.
Here's what makes all this like hilarious. AEW fans get more mad about this though than Tony actually does. Like I didn't advertise this, but it's Tony's reaction to the like NXT counter programming. He fucking laughs and he's just like, okay. He has data to suggest he already has data to suggest this shit doesn't affect his pay-per-views or his buy rates. And he knows for a fact that his show is going to be better than the NXT show. So he's just kind of like his reaction, he genuinely shrugs his shoulders and goes, they've been doing this for 40 years, so of course they're going to do this. And actually, hilariously, he doesn't see it as a low blow because he sees it as like what's the word? Like from an ethics standpoint. He thinks this is not like as dirty of a business practice as, for example, tampering with his roster. Like when he finds out that WWE contact his wrestlers, he's pissed at that type of shit. When he sees WWE playing PR games with the media, where like they will get an ESPN guy to like make a negative post about AEW. I don't know if you guys remember when they would do that type of stuff. He hates that kind of shit. Like the PR stuff, he thinks is dirty play. The tampering is dirty play. To him, when they just schedule an event on his event, he's like, okay, that's fair. I also don't care because it's not going to affect me. And I respect that. I respect that. He's very confident in his product and he knows like, hey, man, we'll be all right. Good luck with your fucking show.
Y'all could run that up against All In. But what's gonna be the better match? What's gonna be the better match?
Right. And so I saw that to
Hangman versus fucking Mox, or Tony D versus Stacks 2. Like,
right. So
man.
I say all that to say, AEW fans, stop crashing out. Tony's not even crashing out about it. The actual correct reaction is to laugh at these people because it's like kind of sad. NXT isn't going to do shit to AEW's pay-per-view. It's just not. It's just setting up NXT, and it's the poor wrestlers that have to do that show. It's putting them in a bad position, realistically. So instead of fucking like bashing your head into a wall about it, point and laugh at them, because they're fucking building their fucking calendar around these AEW pay-per-views now. So
stupid. It's so like, don't get me wrong. I love NXT, guys. You know me. I love NXT, but it's so stupid. It's stupid and it's stupid. It's a waste of money, and like I said, it's pointless because in the grand scheme of things, y'all lost AEW already. So
there you go.
KM Raider 199. Jay promo was unfortunate. Seemed so lost out there.
Yeah, I tweeted this already. So Jay doesn't do scripts because he's bad at remembering them. He does bullet point promos in the back, and he just forgot what he was going to say. That's what happened there. He straight up forgot what his promo was going to be. So he just pivoted to, I'm gonna choke you out, 4 letters, 1 word, and then like left. He just straight up forgot his promo.
Isaac Godino 499. If Punk, Seth, and Heyman are fixing Raw, what workers have the cachet to fix Fridays?
Cody could, but doesn't. I don't think he gives a fuck. I think Cody just wants to make sure his shit is good. Cody could.
Sorry.
Cody could, but and look, Cody doesn't have say so on his stuff anyway, But like for example, I mentioned this before. When Cody was working Gunther in Saudi, they were just like, "Yo, man, make this make sense. Help us." And Cody was like, "I got you," and he made that program make sense. So
If Cody, but I do. Now, if Cody could do his Codyverse stuff on, I wish Cody would have just did his Codyverse stuff on SmackDown, bro. I wish he would have just said fuck it and did his Codyverse stuff on SmackDown because it would have made the show at least somewhat interesting, especially knowing if I would have knew Cody. Listen, with Cody winning the belt and us going into this new era of SmackDown, if I knew SmackDown would have been 3 hours from the get go, I would have said, yeah, man, just do your Codyverse stuff on SmackDown. I don't care. Like, make the show good, but hey, what do I know? Vernacular 190.
PW Insider is claiming. PW Insider is claiming that Tony decided to give Paige the win late in the day. That that it was decided the day of the pay-per-view late in the day. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was always of the belief that Will was winning, and I do think that Hangman winning instead was a change of mind from Tony. I don't have proof of that though, but I absolutely believe it.
You're saying SRS has already debunked this?
Did he? That's hilarious. That's incredible. But I'll tell you this. Like I said, do I think the decision came down to the day itself? I mean, who knows? Do I believe that Tony had one idea for the match and then changed his mind maybe a week ahead or 2 weeks? Yeah, I do. I think Will was gonna go over, and then he went with Mox. I mean, went with Hangman instead. But when that happened, I don't know, and I have no proof of when it happened. PW Insider claims it was the day of, but if Sean debunked it, then he debunked it. So there you go.
Vernacular 199 weekly CM Punk Mega Pops are happening. By the way,
yeah, he's like they give him. He gets like the Steve Austin position of the show now, which is really funny.
That's so nasty, bro. He was getting booed at the beginning of post Mania season, by the way, and now he gets. But he's been getting that since Mania season. I noticed it. How like everybody comes out in the segment and they all like yap endlessly until we get the and then the fucking his theme hits. That's so disgusting. So disgusting, bro.
Something I've noticed about Raw lately is Punk doesn't like cutting promos much now on TV, which is interesting.
Yeah,
I find that interesting. I don't know if y'all noticed this. He's had one promo in the last like 2 months. Interesting.
Yeah, because he sucks at him now.
No, he
Alex Diaz, 1990, 199. Why Hendrick gets so much hate? He's not too bad. Better than Uso. No. That's not true. That's not true. He's not better than Uso. And he is pretty bad. So, Ibu?
I'm not a big fan of Joe Hendry. I think the act and shtick is like remedial, and I don't understand it appealing to anybody beyond like smirking at it like at a TikTok for like a day. He's like an average to like mediocre pro wrestler with a lame shtick to me. So not my kind of pro wrestler personally.
Hey man.
Listen,
this point in the game.
He's good at self promotion and he got himself over, so kudos to that. I don't care for him.
Hey man, at this point in it is May of 2025. He's been doing this for 10 years and he's just now making it to at least a WWE show. That should tell you all that you need to know. Eddie Rock, €5. Any chance Big Rome remembers to come to work and cost Seth at Money in the Bank? And if so, who do you guys feel will walk out with Money in the Bank, both men and women?
I think men's Money in the Bank is either going to be LA Knight or Carmelo Hayes, and I think the women's Money in the Bank is going to be either Naomi or Roxanne Perez. And I expect
I
Roman,
said the same thing.
I expect Roman to be at this show. I just got a text from someone in WWE. Give me 1 second.
I said the same thing. I expect for LA Knight to win this match. I've been expecting LA Knight to win this match since the last year one where they clearly realized that they screwed up and fucked up completely with giving Drew the fucking Money in the Bank just for it to get lost in the same night. LA Knight should have won it literally 2 years ago, but for whatever reason it went to Damian Priest, which I guess do good for Damian Priest. But yeah, um, I'm very pretty sure that it'll be LA Knight. And for the women, I don't know. The women is very complicated. Very complicated. I cannot put my finger on a woman's choice yet. So Zion Burks 499. This is the most excited I've been for AEW since Revolution 24. The next 6 weeks will be incredible. Hashtag self-made. Hashtag take these Hangman FC strokes Ibu. Hashtag punks camp Ibu down.
Once again, I love Hangman Page and I love CM Punk, and I think that's very possible for any normal, discerning adult man. Thank you, Zion, for your support. And thank you for the self-made shout out, man. I love the Discord. We were in there Sunday and we had a great time watching Double or Nothing. And folks, if you're not in the Discord, at selfmadepw is our Twitter handle. Follow at selfmadepw. In the bio, in the bio, there's a link to the Patreon. And if you join for just $5, you can get in the Self-Made Discord and you have access to all our archived content, all our watch alongs, all our spaces, all our external, all our miscellaneous content. And again, $5, you can hang out with us. You can be in there. We do spaces, we do watch alongs, so on and so forth. Aux battles, game nights. We watch the pay-per-views on there. I do spaces, like I said, et cetera. And if you join a higher tier, $10 to $20, depending on what it is, you can recommend us matches to watch for the match recommendation watch alongs. And those are a lot of fun. Those are like really awesome nights. So I recommend the Discord. It's a great community. I'm in there. AO's in there. Chris is in there. Rob is in there. And the extended backup Hangman universe. So it's a good time. It's worth joining. I will be resuming Jujutsu Kaisen this week in the Discord. And we're going to be watching wrestling. And I will be doing a space this week. So there you go, Self-Maders. Shout out to the Self-Maders. We love you guys. Self-Maders. Let's get a hashtag Self-Made in the chat from any Self-Mader. And we go from there.
Let's get it.
Rob, you just get that guy's super chat.
What?
Right before this was another super chat that I didn't even read.
I'm pretty sure you read that, bro.
No, we read Zion Burks's about Self-Made. And then the next one was a John Cena thing. You didn't read it.
Oh, brother, bro. Hold on, fuck. Let me read this one while I find it. Ryan Cicchini's 279 NXT or main roster for his fourth member.
I can't comment on that. Yo, the chat is calling. They say you got CTE, right? Yeah, right. I don't know how you messed that up,
bro. No, it's you know what it is, bro. Because you stay on like the same super chat for 10 fucking minutes.
No, we
so
didn't.
I'm thinking
you
started.
You read it, and you read it, and I
I'm
didn't
not
ask
finished. I'm not finished.
You
stay on the same super chat
ad, and then you just went to the next one, and then went to the one after that.
I don't think I was finished, y'all. You stay on the same super chat for 10 minutes, and then I'm sitting here thinking you just read the super chat on the screen because you do that sometimes. So I'm sitting here thinking that you just read.
I did a Self-Made ad.
I know that.
Chat, tell me, chat. You see how Rob's trying to flip this? Like he literally just wasn't paying attention.
Oh my god. Anyways, well, I'm trying to find this chat. Thank you for the super chat, Ryan Cicchini. Ish $20. I wrote this under Ibu's tweet. I genuinely believe Dragon Lee went into this match with an intent to prove himself to everyone in the back and in the audience. He was the highlight of the match by far. Hello?
Dragon Lee was incredible yesterday.
Yeah, no, Dragon Lee was great. Dragon Lee, I don't understand why it takes a performance like this for people to realize that he needs to be used, but His usage rate is not a good thing at all, and I don't understand what is going on in WWE creative as to where they're like, oh well, we're just not going to use you, and it's just like, it's very annoying. I don't like. It's with the same thing with a lot of guys. It's just they're just used for qualifiers and nothing else.
This was the
It's
super
stupid
chat
shit.
right here. Filthy slime
Filthy.
99. Ibu, could you educate my friend who thinks John Cena started getting booed around 2010, 2011 when that shit really started not long after he won his first world title? Yeah, so here's the deal. It's 2005. WWE has yet to make a new crop of wrestling fan. The fans that were watching WWE in 2005 are all the holdovers of the last boom that they had in the Attitude Era. They weren't making new fans yet. They're about to. But the majority of their audience were Attitude Era holdovers. And their opinion on John Cena, they liked him in 2004. He was cheered in New York at MSG. We get to 2005, and we're at a point where the belief is that Triple H's reign of terror is now over. And if it's over, this means new opportunities for Christian, for Kurt Angle, for Chris Jericho, people that are favorites of hardcore fans, Rob Van Dam. And so fans have been waiting very patiently for Triple H to be done fucking just being stingy with the top belt. John Cena gets moved to Raw. People are like, okay. And what started to happen is Christian gets momentum. The hardcores like Christian. He beats Christian. He beats Chris Jericho. He beats Kurt Angle on pay-per-view multiple times. He's starting to beat Shawn Michaels. And the fans are like, yo, this guy's all right, but like we don't like him that much. He's actually not that good. We don't need him to fucking beat our favorites. And so there was resentment there. The hardcore fans are like, why is he beating the wrestlers that we like that haven't been pushed properly and that we've been waiting for? And some of the earliest anti-John Cena sentiment, if you notice, this is a very understated thing. At One Night Stand 05, not 06, 05, Cena has nothing to do with that show. There are random fuck John Cena chants that the crowd tries to start. Just fuck John Cena chants. And that's from the hardest of hardcore audience in New York City. By the end of the year, there's some faint boos. And then we fully get to fuck Cena when we get to New Year's Revolution. Because at New Year's Revolution 06, by that point, hardcore fans' favorite wrestler in WWE is Kurt Angle. He's fully into the Perk Angle era, as fans would call it. And he literally on that show cuts a promo where he says a bunch of like insensitive shit and says, I can say whatever I want and these people will still fucking cheer me because they know I'm like the best wrestler in the world. In that match, he has this epic run where he does a bunch of German suplexes and shit. He's awesome in the chamber. But ultimately, folks, it wasn't Shawn that won. It wasn't Angle. It wasn't Carlito. It wasn't Chris Masters. John Cena wins the chamber. And the fans are like, man, fuck this. Fuck this. This guy sucks. He gets cashed in on. And to the fans, even though, like, you know, the fans sided with Matt Hardy the year before, by 06, Edge was seen as something new. This is a new opportunity for something new. It's a different guy getting a chance. He's a good wrestler. He has really cool matches. He has a hot woman on his side. This is awesome. And then John Cena beats Edge in 3 weeks at the Rumble. Cena defeats Edge in 3 weeks. And that was another big turning point. Fans are like, bro, when is this shit going to end? Holy fuck, this is forced. God damn. And it got so bad that when he hit Chicago for Mania 22, they're cheering Triple H over John Cena. And they hated Triple H. He was a terrorist to hardcore fans. But to them, he represented traditional wrestling. He was a link to the past. And 06, folks, is when we really get into the I miss the Attitude Era. I really miss the Attitude Era. I miss Rock. I miss Austin. WWE sucks now. John Cena's terrible. That's when that really becomes a thing. And for the next few years, that's like every IWC comment section, every YouTube comment section. Man, we got to bring back the Attitude Era. WWE sucks. This shit sucks. Fuck John Cena. And so this is all preceding One Night Stand 06 with RVD. He was hated. And it gets worse because he loses the belt to RVD. RVD loses the belt to Edge. Edge drops the belt back to John Cena at Unforgiven 06. And Rob, John Cena holds the belt for a year. And he would have held it longer had he not gotten injured. He held it for a year.
Yes.
He wins it at Unforgiven. He ends Umaga's undefeated streak, and it beats him again. He beats Umaga 2 times, and Umaga never fully recovers from losing to John Cena 2 times, and is never a main event guy ever again. And then he follows up this by beating Shawn Michaels repeatedly.
Yeah.
He follows this up by beating Bobby Lashley on pay-per-view at Great American Bash. He beats Randy Orton. And people were calling this a reign of terror. People, they give him the nickname Super Cena. Super Cena is born in 06-07. And the hardcore fans said this sucks. And again, it gets worse, folks, because around this time on TV, John stops rapping. In 06, John stops rapping. And Vince McMahon says, John, you are now
a Marine now.
You are now the all-encompassing WWE babyface that's funny. You're going to be funny. You're going to be quippy. You're going to cut promos where you talk about what's going on in the show, and you make people laugh and you bury people. They basically had him doing Rock cosplay segments. And again, the fans that were around for The Rock were like, this fucking sucks. Now, the 9-year-olds were like, oh my God, Cena's awesome. He's funny. He's great. The adults are like, this fucking sucks. This guy stinks.
You know why? You know why though, Ebu? You know why though? Because they did this in the era where when The Rock did it, he could pretty much say whatever he wanted on TV because that was the thing at the time. You pretty much said whatever you felt like coming to you that was funny. You just said it on TV at the time. There was no limitations.
Rob, Grant Hudson said fine speech in quotes. So Cena
fine
wasn't
speech.
Yet he was not in fine speech mode. This is not fine speech, John. This is Mr.
The bologna fudge and mustard.
No, not even that. No. Who remembers this, folks? Mr. Kennedy gets drafted to Raw. Fans are like, oh my God, Kennedy's going to get a push. Kennedy's going to Raw. Let's get it. Face to face with John Cena. And he's like, allow me to introduce myself. I am. And then John cuts him off and he's like, Mr. And I remember watching this like, what the fuck is this shit? What is this shit? And and then I'll never forget, he was in front of Armando Estrada, who was Umaga's manager. And he was like, Armando Alejandro, oh, park your ass and shut your pie hole. And I'm like, this guy is so corny. This is pre-PG era. And he was bringing in the PG before PG was there, bro. I'm like, no, this dude is so goddamn corny.
No, because by that time, it was pre-PG era, but there was still certain things they were starting to limit stuff you could say on TV. They still were.
We're still bleeding and there were still titties on the show. It wasn't PG yet. They were still bleeding and there were still titties on the show. And John is just saying the corny stuff. And so when he got hurt, folks, hardcore fans were like, hey, man, it is what it is. We're going to be free of John Cena for 7 months. And then John Cena said, I'll see you niggas in 2 months. You're like, what? Comes in the Rumble. And here's a funny thing I'll never forget, folks. When he won the Rumble, people were like, oh my God, he's just going to beat Randy Orton for the title at WrestleMania. They do the 3-way Triple H. Everybody expects Cena to win. He doesn't. And throughout 08, WWE makes a point to not give John Cena the top belt. They were aware of the fan fatigue. And quietly, Jeff Hardy becomes the most over person in the company and the most popular person in the company. And so for this 1 year, they de-emphasized John Cena. And fans are like, all right, I can fuck with this. But what happens is WWE goes PG. And people don't like that. They don't like that WWE going PG. The boys didn't like it. They stopped blading. You couldn't even say ass on TV. It got real cheap.
Left.
Batista leaves. But here's the thing. Not yet, though. But here's the thing. So when WWE goes PG, I remember being in these forums, folks. They blamed it on John Cena. They're like, oh, my God, it's because of Cena. Cena's the reason they went PG. And so the Cena hate re-intensifies because he becomes the face of everything wrong with the new WWE. And so in fans' mind, Attitude Era, drinking, blood, edginess, Stone Cold, PG era, fucking Muppets, John Cena. That's what it became. And he wins the belt back and he beats Sheamus and all those types of dudes. And the Nexus comes in and he smokes the Nexus. Everybody's favorites are gone. A bunch of people leave come 2010. Shawn Michaels is gone. Undertaker's not around anymore. Triple H is gone. Jericho's gone. Batista's gone. John Cena's the last remaining guy, and it's John Cena, a bunch of FCW guys, guest hosts, heel Michael Cole, and bad, awful PG writing, and The Miz at the top of the card. And people were like, fuck this, WWE sucks, and I hate John Cena. So that's your timeline, folks. I'm sure most of the chat knew this timeline, but if anyone wasn't super aware of the weeds of like how this came to be, I hope you enjoyed that timeline. But that was your 05 to 2010 timeline of the Cena dislike. So yes, he was absolutely hated before 2010.
God, I'm so glad that Nexus shit failed. Thank God. Yo, because they would be like, John Cena tried to bury the Nexus and it failed. No, it worked. Thank God.
It's worth noting that this bleak scene that I painted is part of the reason why CM Punk was so beloved when he cut the pipe bomb. We were in hell. We were in hell. There was nothing that WWE had going for it. It was a hellscape. And Punk comes in and he's like, hey guys, like I like, you guys still like pro wrestling, right? You know? And he said what he had to say, and people were like, oh my God, thank God. He's gonna save us and beat John Cena, who was like Cena Satan. So there you go.
What a nerd. Zion Burke, not talking no, not you, Punk, but what a nerd. Zion Burks, 199. Heyman in the dub would be so interesting.
It would, but it's not happening.
Basically, yeah. Y'all think the women's division booking was bad a few years ago?
Come on,
with
man.
Paul Heyman in charge, nigga.
Come on, man.
With Paul Heyman in charge, nigga? What's a women's division? Corey David, $2. More likely all in weekend. AJ versus Gable or Ospreay.
AJ Gable's probably happening in like 2 weeks on Raw. So they're not gonna.
We're probably getting that first, bro. And that's even if we get the AJ Ospreay match. But
I think AJ re-signed. You never know. You literally never know. And I'll be honest with you. Will not winning the Owen finals just have me kind of looking in every direction now, paranoid. But
that's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. What could he possibly do?
Little weird. It's a little weird, but I still will bank on AJ staying.
We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. That's a very, very interesting debate. Jeremy Dyer, $4.99. Should WWE do an Anarchy in the Arena at SummerSlam with Seth's group versus Punk, Sammy, Roman, and Jay? No, because it wouldn't be good. Nobody can bleed.
No, I do think a group arena brawl of some kind is something I'd like to see. I don't know if you do it at SummerSlam, and I also wouldn't. I mean, obviously they're not gonna straight up copy Anarchy in Arena. Plus, it's like, what song out of those guys would be good enough to play over and over again? I mean, you could have them fight.
We're not playing Cardi B over an arena brawl, bro. I'm sorry.
Right now, look, Cult of Personality, that could work for 10 minutes. Every other song, no. Could you imagine them fighting while Seth's song is playing? That's awful. That's awful. So yeah, but I'll tell you this: I do really want to watch Roman, Seth, and Sammy fight Bronson, Braun, and Seth. I'd love it at Money in the Bank. It won't be at Money in the Bank. It won't happen at Saudi. So the only other opportunity, unless, nigga, if it was me, bro, if it was me, son, the Saturday night's main event that's going to be on the same night as All In, bro, that's going to be weeks before SummerSlam. If it was me, I'd book it there, and I'd make it the focus of that show. And instead of trying to cram 5 fucking shitty matches on this commercial-filled 2-hour special, I'd book 3 matches on that show. 3. And I'd give the Punk, Roman, Sammy versus Seth, Bronson, and Braun match, I'd give them 30 minutes on that show. Because who gives a fuck? What other shit matters? Instead of trying to force a million matches, I'd book that match and make it the focus of the show. And let them go like 30 and just go crazy. That's what I would do. So there you go. Did we skip another super chat?
No.
Are you sure?
No, that was the super chat you were responding to. Talking about Anarchy in the Arena.
Let me double check. I'm gonna double check just in case I don't want to fuck up anyone's money. I'm gonna check right now. No, you're good. Yeah, you're good. All right.
Uh, okay, so I think it's See the Scaleless. $9.99. I know Cena's stuff is bad, but I still hate how disconnected his stuff feels from everything else. Would it be made worse by associating Cena with Seth and friends and inject some life into this run?
No,
Okay.
bro, keep it away. People keep saying this. Keep
Yeah,
that
no,
John
yeah,
Cena
yeah.
shit
Don't.
away from this Heyman shit,
What
please.
has to what has to be done is, bro. First of all,
Keep it
we have to
away.
acknowledge the fact that there's a brand split, bro. We can't intertwine every single feud on every single show with each other just to try to make it work. No.
Listen,
Second of all, The Rock should have never been involved. If Cena was going to turn heel in the first place, which I don't think he should have, The Rock should have never been involved in his heel run in the first place because they still haven't tied Cena's joining up with The Rock in the first place from why it originally happened. We haven't been given a what, who, what, where, why of what happened at Elimination Chamber. We just see John Cena and Travis Scott running around everywhere, being all buddy buddy. But it's also just like it's just bad creative, bro. It's bad creative. It's bad creative. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yo, Cena's a good wrestler. He could be doing better. He could be doing better, but it's just like it's bad creative.
I
I don't. The reason I don't crash out about this being quote unquote bad and that badly enough because I already knew what it was, bro. I'm not going to sit here and be like, wow, this is surprisingly, but like I don't care. So
this shit is awful, and I don't want it anywhere near the thing that I like on the show. Um, keep that shit away from Seth, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker. And I don't want CM Punk to even look in John Cena's direction until that nigga gets his shit together. So no, thank you. No, thank you. It does feel isolated from
I
the rest of
would.
WWE. You want to know why it does? Because it feels like a fucking 2021 Vince storyline. It feels like 2021 WWE. The WWE that did the dripstick with John Morrison, the WWE that had like fucking Alexa Bliss fighting Randy Orton, the WWE that was just like literally brain rot, right?
Damn,
It
you
feels
don't
like
like intergender wrestling, piece of shit.
it felt like that company, and so that's what it feels like. Why does it feel like that? Because John Cena's best friend is Vince McMahon. So I'll leave that there.
Yo,
But I'll tell you this: it feeling isolated from the rest of the product is a good thing in the sense that I can just ignore it. Um, Cody is gonna, God bless Cody, man. He's gonna have a really, really tall task. He's gonna have to find a way to make this shit work, and I'm gonna feel so bad for him because he's gonna cut good promos in the next few weeks of TV. He's going to cut good promos opposite this fucking NPC. If you go back to even Mania season, the second and like third week of Cody and Cena promos, Cody was cutting great promos, and he was doing that opposite like a fucking like wooden log. He's gonna have to do that again. So, I mean, God rest his soul. I mean, not rest his soul, but like God bless him. All right, Rock is the problem, and not enough people talk. How is he the problem?
I was no. The Rock is a problem in the sense in the sense of he's not the reason why to y'all the John Cena is bad. The John Cena shit is bad. I don't think that's what he means. The Rock showing up, starting shit, and then not finishing it or paying it off is the problem. I think that's what people mean by The Rock is the problem. The Rock shows up, right? Says he needs his champion. He wants his champion. What was the terminology? He wants Cody Rhodes' soul. He
Right.
doesn't get Cody Rhodes' soul. Instead, he gets John Cena's soul. But we never get any follow up from it because The Rock has to go film his movie,
All right, look,
and they
Rob.
don't come with
Rob, to that I would say, is that annoying? Yes. However, I think it's fair to say, Rob, this absolves Triple H of accountability because, okay, Rock is leaving loose ends, right? But Rock isn't the one that's booking John Cena to fight R-Truth. Rock isn't the one, theoretically, that's saying the finish of WrestleMania is a long 3-minute Travis Scott walkout. So this retirement tour,
Well, no,
even without Rock,
I'm
could just
not
not make
absolving
it.
anybody in this storyline of any blame. I'm saying I'm explaining because you seem like you were like confused by people being like The Rock is the problem, and I was explaining their point of view. So no, I'm not. I don't agree with The Rock is the problem.
Right. All right, what you got? What we got next?
Lee McVary, 199 pound. What was Ilya's plan for Berlin? Randy and Gunther, King of the Ring botch altar?
Berlin. What Berlin show? The Bash in Berlin from last year? Wasn't Ilya not injured for that show? That was last.
No, he
that
was. He was.
No, he wasn't. Bash in Berlin. That was wasn't that August?
Oh yeah, no, Bash in Berlin. Ilya wasn't injured. He just
Ilya
didn't
wasn't
wrestle
injured.
there.
He wasn't booked on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they just
told people what
didn't.
Ilya's
They
plans were.
just.
Ilya was gonna do Judgment Day shit. He was gonna fight Gunther in January, and then he was gonna go for Braun Breaker's Intercontinental Championship at Mania season. So there you go. Randy and KO. I don't know what I don't know what Lee's trying to say about this Randy King of the Ring botch. What? Yeah, I don't know what that's.
I'm mad confused. I'm sorry. I'm just scrolling right now, making sure I didn't skip anything.
Right.
All right, we can go to the next super chat. Will Chisholm, $5. Do you think they do Stephanie?
I want to point when in the Judgment Day thing, he was going to tag with Dragon Lee against the Judgment Day guys.
Yeah, because I remember we were on the Raw review, and you were like, they're supposed to become a tag team at some point. So,
yes.
Will Chisholm, $5. Do you think they do Stephanie versus Jordan Grace rematch at Evolution, or who might be the Stephanie match?
I have absolutely no clue. I do not know. But you know what? I might be able to find that out for you. So I'm going to ask tonight and try to have an answer for you by Worldwide.
All right. I almost read it. A name I will never read. 199. Never would have thought Dom better than Hook years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's a massive gap there. It is what it is. It's a charisma gap. That's what it actually is. Hook doesn't appear to have a feel for like what this is. Like, he doesn't appear to have a feel for wrestling. Like from a performance standpoint, from in terms of getting over, it doesn't really appear to have it. So it is what it is.
He doesn't get it, and that's okay. Corey David, $2. Tavion versus Santana, good match. Tavion eating the pin.
Yeah, I presume so.
Yeah, no. But what's annoying about this is it's seeming like this is leading to a. Oh, go ahead.
There's scheduled to be AAA names at NXT tonight. I forgot to mention this. And they were going to shoot some angles for Worlds Collide tonight.
They had two there the other night in Vikingo.
Right. So I'd expect the two women that were at the Battleground show to probably attack Stephanie, and I'd expect Lola Vice to come into her aid, and they'd set up that tag match for Worlds Collide. And I'd also expect Ricky Starks' challenger to come face to face with him at tonight's TV. So there you go.
Hush, $4.99. In Brunson We Trust, how do we feel about this Worlds Collide show so far? Any insight on who Andrade is getting?
Andrade's not on the show. How do I feel about the show? I don't have any strong feelings on it, but I'm curious how they fill the rest of the card out. And I wish Elioto Dr. Wagner Jr. had a singles match. I think he's the best wrestler on the roster. And being in a trios match is kind of like a bad usage of him. Triple A doesn't have a lot of good wrestlers, in truth. And so to use one of like one of the guys that I actively consider is great, and putting him in a tag match is kind of like, that's a little mid. I'm curious what Ray Phoenix does on this show. I'm curious what Dragon Lee does on this show. And I'm curious what Javon does on this show. So, again, I'm just curious. If it was me, bro, I'd say, I know that the format so far has been WWE versus AAA for the matchups, but I would just say fuck it and do like Dragon Lee and Ray Phoenix in a singles match, because that'd be better than any WWE AAA match you could book with the remaining wrestlers, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Thank you for the super chat. Seethe, the Scaleless, $1.99. Star inflation is squarely Meltzer's fault.
I don't know. All I know is people just don't know how to rate anymore. Because I'm so sick of like publicly giving a match 3.5 and people seeing it as an insult. Like it's really stupid. It's really stupid.
Black Yakuza 94, $2. Kenny versus Okada genuinely broke people's brains.
But look at that match, right? So Omega Okada is one of the best matches in the history of the medium, right? If you're not a scale breaker, it's a 5-star match. And I want you to ask yourself, when some of y'all throw like 5 stars at any random TV match you'll see, ask yourself, is this as good as Omega Okada? If not, then why are you giving it 5? Best example. Last week, Shawn Legacy, Javon Evans, and Ashante had a cool match. They had a cool match. They worked really hard, did a lot of cool spots. It was a fun match. I saw people on timeline giving it 5. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, does any match that tickles your tank get 5 stars? Like, bro, are you telling me that like that's one of the greatest matches you've ever seen in the history of wrestling? Jesus fucking Christ. Anyways,
See the scaleless 199. Vaquera Grace was fantastic. Very high on Grace.
yeah, I think Grace is underrated. Honestly, she's one of the best wrestlers in America, women's wrestlers in America. So, yeah.
Danny Kwong, $5. Dude, will we ever see Jack Perry in AEW again? I know you said AEW pretty much thought the scapegoat character was a failure.
That's a question for Tony Khan. They saw the scapegoat character as a failure, but does that mean they think Jack Perry is a failure and will never be good again? I don't know. I get the sense that Jack Perry is checked out, but I also don't know him personally, and I don't know where Tony stands with using him again, because he wasn't super happy with him before bringing him back as the scapegoat, but he got over that and brought him to TV. So what happens from here on is something that I'm not privy to.
Right. Stephen Conroy, £4.99. Watching super delayed. So sorry if you covered this, but that Raw tag division is so bad. Give us Bronson X Braun versus Fraxium, please.
It's a very boring division. Can we get Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne back on the TV, please? It's just a very
bro. The tag division last year, bro, coming out of 2023 especially, was so interesting, bro.
Bro, at one point, the Raw tag division in 2023 was like excellent. You had Imperium,
DIY. We had Imperium.
You had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
New Day.
The Judgment
Kevin
Day,
Owens and Sami Zayn.
Alpha Academy, and back when Chad Gable was the main guy in the tag.
Yeah,
it was a very the War Raiders were there. It was a very, very good division, and the belts felt like main event belts.
And the thing is, though, the problem is, it's the same division minus DIY, right? But it's just like this New Day heel run, bro. Is horrible.
It's bad. It's really bad.
It's terrible.
And their match, they've been unable to have good matches as heels either. Like the in ring of the New Day has gone down. Like a New Day match, you know you're getting a 2.5 to a 3.
Bro, I forgot who was coming out last night. It was one of the tag teams in that match. But I was looking at the ring, and I genuinely, like, off glance thought, like, with what they were wearing, Xavier and Kofi were extras waiting for the match to start. Like, I know, I didn't even realize they got an entrance. So yeah, they gotta fix that shit, bro. They gotta fix that shit. Mm-hmm. Clayton Boland, $1.99. What's the main angle on SmackDown post Cena?
That's a great question. Depends what you mean by post Cena. I think Cena drops the belt at SummerSlam, but I really don't know. I really do not know. Cody was going to work Drew around this time of the year, but Drew's hurt. So what they do now, I'm not totally sure. Allegedly, they want to make the tag thing even bigger and get more people involved, and they've already started that last week. So we'll see how they expand it even further.
Cody's Hush $1.99. Cody not a team player? Hashtag noticing.
I mean, if that's how you want to see that, sure.
Kuro $4.99. Boo Boo, are we getting an Uncle Allen and Gable program?
I'm not sure. I think Dominic is. I gotta ask about this. I think he's dealing with a minor injury because they were gonna do AJ and Dom stuff.
Yes, they did. They did mention how AJ was supposed to fight Dom after Backlash, and he just didn't. So
Yeah, I think Dom's dealing with a minor injury. So AJ Gable, look, you know how Triple H books. They're probably gonna just wrestle 2 or 3 times on TV just because that's how the shit goes anyway. But it's an intermediary thing just for like a good match on TV. I think the main thing is still AJ and Dom. But again, I gotta look into what's going on with Dom.
all right, Pablo 92, 2,500 Chilean pesos. Watching Cena's run now makes me appreciate Austin more. In 2001, his matchless angle and the one he had with Benoit on SmackDown were fire. Yo, that
Thank
match,
you, Pablo.
yo, me,
Holy
Ibu,
shit.
we watched that. We watched that, bro. Yo, he did 10 Germans in a row to Austin on
Steve
that
Austin in
SmackDown, bro.
01. The heel turn was ill advised from a business standpoint. And people, it would be fair to make the comparison to this John Cena heel turn, but the actual content on TV that Steve was providing as a heel blows John Cena's shit out of the fucking water.
Yes.
Way more entertaining. And he had multiple great matches, numerous great matches. He tagged with Triple H against Benoit and Jericho, and that was incredible. He has the matches with Benoit on the SmackDown in Calgary, I believe it is, and then the Raw in Canada also. Both matches are phenomenal. Take that out of the picture. He has the 3-way at King of the Ring where it's him, Benoit, Jericho, great match. He has the fucking SummerSlam match with Kurt Angle. That is the best match with a DQ finish I've ever seen in my life. The best match I've ever seen with a DQ finish. Unbelievable. A good rematch of Kurt Angle at I don't want to say Unforgiven. No Mercy as a 3-way with Kurt Angle and RVD. Very good. Austin in 2001 was the fucking shit. John Cena in 2025 is shit.
I want to see, anyways. I want to see. I want to show y'all some of the that post Attitude Era, pre Ruthless Aggression, WWF stuff. But I was gonna do that probably tonight, but we got match recommendations. I think so.
We do.
That's what AO said, bro. We got match recommendations. That's what he said, at least.
When did he say this? Tonight?
Nigga, you don't read your own chats?
Where did he say? I'm not available on Tuesday nights. Where did he say this? Are you?
Hold on. I'm about to tag you in it. I'm about to tag you in it right now. Go check. Yeah.
Did I miss this? Where was this said, Rob?
I'm about to tag you right now.
All right, because I did not see this shit. I'm usually busy.
I just tagged you.
All right, I'll see. I'll talk about that later because I'm not really around. Anyway, Hush 199. Did y'all like the Master Lock challenge? Yeah, it was a good way to get him over. It was good. That was a good thing.
Funny enough, the Master Lock challenge is one of my very few memories from that year as a WWE fan. Like when I was like very, very young. So that, yes, I did like the Master Lock challenge. I thought it was very funny watching every week and watching people not be able to beat the Master Lock challenge. Yeah, I specifically remember the episode where Bobby Lashley beat it. Like I remember watching that live as it happened. So yeah, Hush 199. Can we get a Cody Rhodes? Can we get a Cody AEW hate timeline now? By the way.
Oh my God, for 199, Jesus Christ! I'm trying to end this fucking podcast. It really kind of came to be when he was feuding with QT. Cody began to isolate himself from the rest of AEW's product, and people were mixed on the factory. And then people really liked Anthony Ogogo, And Cody did the whole like, I'm gonna give birth to a beautiful half white, half black girl, and that's the proof of the American dream. And I solved racism. People thought that promo was cringe, and then he beat Anthony Ogogo in the name of America. And people were like, man, does Cody ever like put anyone over? And then Cody Rhodes was put in opposition to Aleister Black, and people liked Aleister. And then Cody did the fake retirement after he lost to the guy, and people thought that was cringe. And then he got booed in New York when he faced him again. And we got a fuck finish there. And then Cody wins the feud, and people thought that was bullshit. And we went full on Cody verse where he was just like doing all kinds of nut shit. So, yeah, by the end of 2021, people just didn't like Cody Rhodes. The AW audience, that is.
All right. Speckles 199. Robin Ibu, how would you book this week's Dynamite?
Ooh,
It'll probably be some ECW ass shit. Not gonna lie.
We need to do really hard sells for Omega Okada, Mox Page, and Tony Mercedes immediate hard sells for those 3 matches
as soon as possible, nigga.
Because we have to sell tickets. We got to get these things going. Hard sells on those matches. That's the main priority. You can do whatever the fuck you want the rest of the show.
Yes. X Iverson, $20. Hope you guys had a good weekend. I think Raw's been on a nice run lately. Big bounce back from that rough MSG Euro stretch. PLEs still feel weak though. The way they're handled needs a major rehaul. Stay blessed. The only thing that feels the same, Evu, like the super chat just said, are the PLEs still feeling kind of weak and SmackDown still feeling the same. I think it's a huge problem. Would you agree?
There are people that don't make these pay-per-views that would absolutely help these shows. The SmackDown tag division is underrepresented on the pay-per-views. Io Sky should be on the pay-per-views like every month. And that would help the shows. 6 matches on the shows would help too.
Yes.
Doing the Backlash, for example, it's like, dude, you do a 5-match card, and one of the matches is the Pat McAfee match. It's like you're asking for the show to just be lackluster. So better match selection and matchmaking on the pay-per-views would help the pay-per-view. There are multiple Raws that have better lineups, wrestling lineups than the pay-per-views. Like I said earlier, you book Chad Gable, Penta, and Dragon Lee in a match on TV, and on the pay-per-views you get fucking like celebrity circle jerk garbage. It feels like 2 different WWEs. So that's a big problem. The pacing is the problem, and the talent that they choose to make the pay-per-views is a problem too. So I think just adding 1 to 2 matches per PLE, as they're called, and picking better wrestlers to make those shows would help them immensely. I would like to see Fraxium and the Prophet start getting on the pay-per-views. Yeah, we'll go from there. Money in the Bank, we'll see how this show goes. The Cena tag is going to be like whatever. Becky and Lyra is going to be great. The ladder matches should be entertaining. The 5th match needs to be an awesome match. The 5th match needs to be an awesome match. So we'll see what they end up doing.
Top Rope Bozo, $4.99. If Julie and Roxy signed with a show, what's the point of the draft?
The original plan for the draft was to do it the week of this past week. The original idea was to do a draft this very past week. Hunter changed his mind because there was too much going on to plan it out properly. And when he does a draft, he wants to like have a clear-cut idea for what he's doing with everybody in the major top picks. And they didn't have time to come up with that. And so that's why they moved the draft. And because of that, he ended up just calling up the people that he wanted anyway right now. So he said, look, we're going to call up Roxy, we'll call up Julia, and we'll just move the draft to later. So that was the idea of that.
Angel Lucia, 5 Canadian. When do you guys think we get Cody versus Randy? They both said in recent interviews it's very important feud for both of them. Randy Orton's not retiring for a long time.
They wanted to do it this year, but everybody involved realized that now's not the time to turn Randy heel. So that's been the problem.
Yeah, like Randy said he's done at 50, and he's like 45, something like that right now. So yeah, we're gonna get that feud at any time now. Slapping 45, $2. Do you think Gable wins singles gold this year?
If Chad wins any
No.
gold this year, it'll be the AAA Mega Championship.
I'm about to say, like,
I told you guys.
we said it yesterday.
I told you guys yesterday that his match with Vikingos for the Mega Championship, and then WWE accidentally spoiled that themselves today by putting the wrong graphic on Raw.
Yeah, so thank you for that super chat. Just Will 4.99. Is there any truth to this idea that these are the matches that Cena wants for his last run? Fumbling a retirement tour like this is booking malpractice.
I don't know what's going on behind the creative behind John Cena, because John Cena stuff is handled very close to vest with John. I'd like to think he calls his shot with a lot of this shit, and I think his sensibilities are just fucking cooked. I think he just sucks. I think he just sucks at what he does, and that's why this sucks.
Oh. Gordon 9.99. When you spoke about AAA and how they don't have a lot of good wrestlers, like Lucha Blog said, they're gonna raid CMLL, and I'm not gonna lie, I expect Dorada to go for some reason. Thanks, Ibu. Well, Dorada and Silverano Jr. already are like, yo, fuck WWE, CMLL better. So, all right, was it? Yeah, it was those two.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they end up doing. I think they will. They have no choice but to kind of take from CMLL. CMLL is not tripping over it because they can just make new talents. Do I think WWE will be able to acquire any of their top guys? I mean, that remains to be seen. They're not getting Mystico. Could they get Dorada? Maybe. Who knows? Money does talk. But they're going to have to do this, and they will attempt to do this because the AAA roster is terrible.
Were you thinking of Templatio? I think it was Templatio. My fault. It was one of the two. It was one of the two. But I know both. Either
was one of the guys who was kind of like, "Hey man, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm not checking for WWE." So we'll see.
Yeah, and Dorado was like, "Yo, I'm not checking for WWE at all." So
we'll see how it plays out.
Rob ain't even defending Cena right now. The bits only go so far, bruh. The thing is,
because it sucks.
I don't really.
It sucks.
Bro, no, it's not even that. It's not even that, Ibu, bro. I don't look at retirement tours with any sort of objectivity and quality. I don't care. I don't care, nigga. What the fuck is that? Oh my god, retiring man didn't have 3-star match with X wrestler. I don't give a fuck. If I enjoyed it, that's all that matters. Like Backlash. If I was objectively rating that match, I would have been like, yeah, it was okay. But like, since I didn't watch that match with any sort of objective eye, I loved it. That was godly. This old the PG era run has been very fun for me, and that's all that matters. So, I think that's the end of the super chats. That's the end of the super chats. I was yeah, no, that was the end of the super chats. I was letting you know.
We talked about the main event. We talked about the opening segment. We talked about the Dragon Lee match. Becky Lyra, what I would add to that is just that the stipulation is, folks, in case you missed it, if Becky loses, she can never challenge for the IC title again. I'm curious. This could go two ways. Either Becky Lynch gets screwed by Bayley and loses, and she's mad at Bayley. And Bayley's get back was, now you can't challenge for Lyra's title. Or Becky Lynch beats Lyra and then fights Becky for the IC belt. You can do either or. So I'm curious what they do. Regardless of the finish, I think Becky Lynch is facing Bayley at Evolution. So that's what I have to say about that. And regarding the rest of the show, nothing else to add other than Miro and Sheamus was something that I told you guys about a month ago before they even hinted it on television. And before Miro even came to WWE, I told you guys that Sheamus wanted to work with him and that he was pushing for it. And he even said, if I'm not going to do something at Mania, well, then coming out of Mania, I'd like to work with Rusev. So I gave you guys that one months ago. If you remember, shout out to you. And I'm happy to see them wrestle each other. I think this will get Rusev going because they'll just have cool, badass physical matches and the people are going to get into them. So I am looking forward to that. They're probably going to wrestle a million times because we know how Paul Levesque books. And I think coming out of their series of matches, they're probably going to form a tag team. So that's my expectation. Did you have anything to add, Rob, on Rusev Miro or Lyra Becky? Otherwise, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no. All I have to add on the Rusev Sheamus for I want to see a best of 7 or best of 5 between the two. That's pretty much it.
Brian says, "Ibu, is Jay Sammy not happening anymore?" No, it is happening. But before it happens, or I don't know if it's before, but I'll tell you this: Punk and Sammy have stuff that they're gonna do with each other. So That's going to be a lot of like the later part of Punk's year. So Punk and Sammy's pursuit of the world title, the world heavyweight belts, is going to come more into focus relatively soon. Rob and Ibu are a good tag team. Even when the shows are amazing, also keep you entertained. No glaze. Thank you, Eric. Thank you. Appreciate that. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I had a good
Definitely
time.
better show than last week.
Yes. You were like a zombie last week, but I thought today was all right. So appreciate you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Subscribe to Self-Made at SelfMadePW on Twitter. Follow that, and then on in the bio, like I said, is the link. You can join for $5. Rob, you're probably gonna be in there tonight for NXT, right, or no?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Don't know.
Well, Rob will update you guys, but in the meantime, please follow Rob, Sir Paragraph, SIR Paragraph, as spelled on his screen with an underscore. That's Rob's new Twitter. Twitter smoked him. Please follow this new Rob account. Let's get that to 1,000.
Let me
get Rob
link
going.
that actually.
Yes, get Rob to 1,000. Follow him, please. And with that said, I'm Evil Wrestle Purist. This is Rob, and you guys just heard the Raw review. I'll see you guys next week.